in a valley painted with every shade of green, where giant ferns uncurled like sleepy caterpillars and waterfalls sang a soft, shushing song, lived a very young Tyrannosaurus Rex named Toby. Toby was not like the T-Rexes you might imagine. While he did have a very big head, two powerful legs, and two teeny tiny arms that he wiggled when he was happy, his heart was the biggest part of him. It was a soft, kind heart, full of curiosity and wonder for the beautiful world around him. He loved the sweet smell of the damp earth after a rain, the tickle of fuzzy moss on his nose, and the way the sunlight dappled through the giant leaves, making dancing patterns on the ground. But Toby had a big problem. It was his voice. His feelings were as big as he was. And when a happy, excited feeling bubbled up inside him, it didn't come out as a little giggle or a happy chirp. It came out as a roar. It was a tremendous, earth-shaking, leaf-quivering roar that echoed from one side of the valley to the other. He didn't mean for it to be scary. To Toby, his roar was the sound of pure joy. It was the sound of seeing the most beautiful sunrise, of tasting the sweetest berry, of feeling wonderfully, perfectly happy. The problem was, no one else knew that. One sunny afternoon, as he ambled through a patch of giant blooming flowers, he saw the most marvelous sight. A family of iridescent beetles, their shells shimmering like tiny polished jewels of blue, green, and purple, were marching in a neat line across a wide, flat leaf. Toby's heart gave a happy thump. They were so beautiful. He wanted to get closer to see how their colors changed in the light. A happy fizz filled his tummy and traveled all the way up his throat. He opened his mouth to say, "Hello, you are so lovely," but what came out was roar. The gigantic sound swept through the flower patch like a mighty wind. The beautiful beetles instantly stopped marching. In a flash of panicked wings and scurrying legs, they vanished deep into the foliage. The leaf was empty. Toby's happy feeling deflated like a popped bubble. His shoulders slumped, and he looked down at his big feet. "Oh," he whispered to the empty leaf, "I only wanted to say hello." He felt a familiar loneliness wrap around him like a heavy blanket. He just wanted a friend, but his happy voice was just too loud. Feeling sad, Toby wandered toward the sound of the singing waterfalls. He decided to walk very slowly and very quietly. He would try to see the world without letting his big voice get in the way. As he padded softly past the sparkling stream, something caught his eye. It was a creature unlike any he had ever seen before. It moved with a slow, deliberate grace across a sun-warmed stone. It was a giant snail, and on its back was a shell that held all the colors of a rainbow. Swirls of ruby red, sunny yellow, and deep ocean blue shimmered and glowed. Toby froze. His breath caught in his throat. The snail was the most peaceful, beautiful thing he had ever witnessed. It left a silvery trail that glittered in the sun. A new goal formed in his heart, a quiet, desperate wish. He wanted to watch the rainbow snail. He wanted to see where it was going, to stay near its calm, colorful beauty without, for once, scaring anything away. "I must be quiet," he whispered to himself, the words barely a puff of air. "I must learn to make a small sound." He stood very still and tried. He puckered his giant lips and pushed. A funny little squeak popped out, like a mouse caught in a tuba. That wasn't right. He tried again, taking a deep breath and letting it out very slowly. A great gusty whoosh of air ruffled the ferns 10 feet away. He tried to hum, but it felt like a volcano was grumbling deep in his belly. It was no use. All his sounds were either too silly or too big. He felt a tear prickle at the corner of his eye, but he blinked it away. He would not give up. He would just have to be silent. With the careful, quiet steps of a creature trying to be invisible, Toby followed the rainbow snail. He kept a respectful distance, hiding behind giant tree trunks and peering over mossy logs. He watched the snail glide over pebbles and under drooping flower petals. It was a slow and peaceful journey, and for a long time, Toby felt a calm he had never known. He was sharing a quiet moment with another creature, and it was wonderful. The rainbow snail eventually made its way to a clearing, a special place carpeted with the softest, greenest moss Toby had ever seen. It looked like a plush, velvety bed made just for the snail. As the snail glided onto the moss, Toby crept closer, his heart thumping a soft, gentle rhythm. He was nearer than he had ever been to a small creature. He could see the snail's 2 little eye stalks moving back and forth, exploring the world. He could see the perfect luminous swirl of its shell. A wave of pure wonder and delight washed over him. It was so much bigger than any feeling he had ever felt before. It was a feeling that needed a sound. Just a tiny one, he told himself. A tiny sound for a tiny, beautiful friend. He took a tiny breath and opened his mouth, intending to let out the smallest whisper of appreciation. But he forgot. He forgot all his practice and all his quiet wishes. The enormous, overwhelming joy inside him simply took over. It burst out of him, not as a whisper, but as the biggest, happiest, most valley-shaking roar he had ever made. Roar, the sound was immense. It made the little bluebells tremble, and the waterfall seemed to pause for a second. In an instant, the rainbow snail's delicate eye stalks vanished. With a soft plip, it disappeared completely into the safety of its beautiful, colorful shell. The echo of Toby's roar faded, leaving a deep, ringing silence. The world was still. Toby stared at the motionless, rainbow-colored shell on the soft green moss. He hadn't just scared it, he had made it disappear. His big, happy heart felt as if it had cracked right in two. "I'm just too loud," he thought. A single tear finally rolling down his long snout and splashing onto the ground. "I will always be scary." Feeling utterly defeated, Toby let his heavy head droop until his chin rested on the soft moss, right next to the silent shell. He was so tired of being big and loud. He let out a long, slow, sad sigh. It was the sigh of giving up. As the air left his deep chest, it didn't make a whoosh or a squeak. Instead, a new sound emerged, a sound he had never paid attention to before. It was a low, long, gentle vibration that rumbled from deep within him. Hrrrrrrmmmm. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't loud or scary at all. It was a soft, sleepy sound, like the purr of a giant kitten. The moss beneath his chin vibrated gently, sending tiny, peaceful waves through the ground. Toby held his breath. He watched the shell. After a moment, one little eye stalk cautiously peeked out. Then the other. The snail didn't seem scared. It seemed curious. It waved its feelers in the air, sensing the gentle vibrations. A little spark of hope ignited in Toby's chest. This was it. This was another voice. He had a loud voice for his big, happy feelings. But maybe he had a quiet voice too. He took another slow, deep breath and let it out just like the sigh. Hrrrrrrmmmm. He felt the pleasant rumble in his own chest and saw the moss tremble ever so slightly. The rainbow snail, sensing the calm, steady rhythm, slowly, gracefully began to emerge from its shell. Its whole body reappeared, and it continued its peaceful journey across the moss, completely unafraid. A new kind of happiness bloomed in Toby's heart, a quiet, warm, and gentle happiness. He lay there, his head on the moss, and continued to make his soft, rumbly sound. He watched the rainbow snail until it disappeared into the ferns on the other side of the clearing. He hadn't scared it. He had shared its world for a little while. He finally understood. His big, happy roar wasn't bad. It was a part of him, but he also had this new, quiet rumble for quiet, gentle moments. He had more than one way to speak, and he had the power to choose. That night, as the silver moon climbed high into the starry sky, Toby snuggled close to his mother's warm, sleeping side. He felt safe and deeply content. He thought about the shimmering beetles and the beautiful rainbow snail. He was not a monster. He was just a T-Rex who had a lot of feelings. He closed his eyes, and instead of a giant, sleepy roar, he let out the softest, quietest rumble of contentment. And listening to the peaceful sound of his own gentle voice, Toby drifted into a deep and happy sleep.